is Life Interlaced, Wetlands and People, and this inspired the name of our webinar, which is by the same title. The day is also a time to celebrate the achievements of those who have worked to protect these valuable ecosystems. I'm Georgina Bongo, the Finance Officer at the G20 Global Land Initiative Coordination Office, UNCCD, and I'll be your moderator for today. In today's session, we are pleased to introduce our distinguished keynote speakers who bring years of experience along with practical knowledge of wetland restoration. We will delve into successful case studies that will inspire us all. Joining us today is Dr. Musonda Mumba, Secretary General of the Convention on Wetlands, Dr. Murali Tumarukudi, Director of the G20 Global Land Initiative, Ms. Bethany Walder, Executive Director of the Society for Ecological Restoration, Ms. Sana Mizuhi, Network Facilitator, MedWet Wetlands for a Sustainable Mediterranean Region, Ms. Anu Rai, President, Sustainability and Environmental Studies, Endeavour, Nepal, Mr. Hazir Risha, Azraq Wetland Reserve Manager, Jordan, and Ms. Godsgift Egberamo, Environmental Consultant, Nigeria. For opening remarks, we will now watch a video address by Dr. Musonda Mumba, the Secretary General of the Convention on Wetlands. Dr. Mumba is a Zambian-born environmentalist with 25 years of global experience in environmental management and sustainable development. She has served as a senior advisor on the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration, leading UNDP's engagement as a strategic collaborating partner in the decade. Can we please play the video?
Wetlands and people are life interlaced. Wetlands are central to our well-being, whether it be through the provision of clean water, acting as sources of food, or protecting us from extreme weather events. Healthy wetlands equate to our well-being. World Wetlands Day is celebrated each year on the 2nd of February, which is why the commemoration raises awareness and increases people's understanding of the critical importance of wetlands. In every corner of the world, human beings have depended on wetlands for centuries, drawing sustenance, inspiration, and resilience from these important environments. Now, despite the numerous benefits that I've just mentioned to you that humans receive from wetlands, every day, wetlands are damaged by humans, us. Wetlands are being destroyed by the unsustainable agricultural practices, which are the primary cause of wetland loss through drainage and infilling and other very impractical and terrible practices that basically kill them. Many wetlands, particularly those near cities, have been polluted by human activities and more recently further degraded by plastic pollution, which exacerbates the triple planetary crisis of climate change, nature loss, and pollution, ultimately affecting our very human health. Current trends in human settlements also pose a major threat to the conservation and wise use of wetlands in and near growing cities. As cities grow and demand for land increases, the tendency is to encroach on wetlands, and these are disappearing 3 times faster than forests. Hence, we need to stop the ongoing destruction and encourage actions to conserve and restore these vital ecosystems. The Secretariat of the Convention on Wetlands invites you to join in the World Wetlands Day celebrations on the 2nd of February 2024. The theme for this year for World Wetlands Day is Wetlands and Human Wellbeing. With only 6 years left to meet the Sustainable Development Goals in 2030, there is an urgent need to act now. For World Wetlands Day, I want to invite you to take 3 critical actions. Make conscious choices to stop polluting wetlands. Join the global effort to conserve and sustainably manage wetlands. Take part in wetland restoration locally, wherever you are. Be a part of the solution by taking any of the above actions and more. Share with us your stories, your experiences of wetland conservation here at the Secretariat and also others. Engage with us this World Wetlands Day and follow the celebrations across all of our social media platforms.
Thank you, Dr. Mumba, for your inspiring message and the call for 3 critical actions: stop pollution, conserve and restore wetlands. And a thank you to the Ramsar Convention for your partnership and continued collaboration. Now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Bethany Walder, who has 20 years experience in environmental conservation, restoration, and education. She's responsible for helping guide SER's overall work to achieve its mission of advancing the science, practice, and policy of ecological restoration. She is co-author on the SER International Principles and Standards for the Practice of Ecological Restoration. Please welcome Ms. Bethany Walder.
Thank you so much, Georgina. And thanks to the UNCCD and the G20 for the invitation to join your panel today. Thanks to all of my co-panelists. It's really an honor to join you all today and to everyone who's listening. Over the next few minutes, I'd like to focus on 2 specific things: wetland restoration as a whole, but also wetland restoration in the context of the rights of nature for wetlands. When wetlands flourish, people flourish. So how do we help wetlands flourish? Ecological restoration of wetlands can be defined as the process of assisting the recovery of a wetland that has been degraded, damaged, or destroyed. This definition is drawn directly from SER's definition of ecological restoration writ large. Ecological restoration is not about fixing everything, nor is it about returning the ecosystem exactly to a prior state it was in. Ecosystem restoration, ecological restoration, is about partnering with nature to put natural systems back onto the dynamic trajectory they were on before they were degraded, including accommodating for climate change. So we have to learn from history and move forward to what's appropriate and what wetlands and other ecosystems can accommodate. And we need to do that because ecosystems, including wetlands, are inherently dynamic. They don't always respond to interventions the way that we think they will. So SER recognizes and encourages folks to implement standards-based restoration. For example, following the SER International Principles and Standards for the Practice of Ecological Restoration, or the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration Principles and Standards of Practice. By following standards, we can help reduce risk and uncertainty and improve the outcomes from restoration interventions. I encourage you to go to SER's website to check out a broad suite of standards and guidance, and I'll put some links into the chat about this and other topics that I mentioned. I think I can put links in the chat, and if I can't, I will forward them to Georgina to post into the chat if I can't do that. So coming again to this concept of restoration and the definition of restoration, it's about partnering with nature. So ecological restoration, by definition, is a participatory process between people and nature that can help us achieve transformative change of the relationship between people and nature. When you go out to a wetland to do restoration, you are engaging and interacting directly with nature to heal it. So through restoration, as we engage in this reciprocal act, where instead of acting as the driver of wetland restoration, we are acting as the driver of wetland recovery, we enable wetlands not only to flourish for their own benefit, but in so doing, to provide a broad suite of services for the planet and for other animal species, as well as for people. And so Musanda talked about the fact that we're killing wetlands, but we also have the ability and the power to heal wetlands, and we can do that through restoration. So this type of transformative change, not just for wetlands, but for people, this transformative change in the relationship between people and nature is exactly what the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration envisions by 2030. In 2020, the Society of Wetland Scientists proposed a universal declaration on the rights of wetlands, which would create 8 legal rights for wetlands, including the right to exist, to sustainable climatic conditions, to natural biodiversity, to be free from pollution, and also the right to restoration. And there are a few more, and I'll post them in the chat. The rights of nature for wetlands can elevate both wetland and human well-being. For example, general rights of nature have helped indigenous peoples in a number of countries protect their traditional lands from extractive activities and also retain access and co-management of those lands. Rights of nature can also assist with conflict resolution, with treaty rights, and even transboundary disputes. By elevating the legal status of nature, or in this case, of wetlands, we can help put wetlands on a more level playing field and reduce the likelihood that wetlands will be destroyed, therefore increasing the likelihood that they will continue to provide robust benefits to people, communities, and other associated natural systems. Similar to restoration in general, rights of nature can help us bring about transformative change between nature and people, moving us from a paradigm of living from nature and exploiting nature to living in nature or even living as nature. Unless and until we make this type of transformative change in our relationship with wetlands and with nature as a whole, we cannot avert the accelerating climate and biodiversity crises. Restoration, including wetlands restoration, is a transformative, solutions-based approach that can help secure a healthy future for people and wetlands. We're at a critical juncture for ensuring we have a healthy planet for people long into the future. So let's all go out, get our hands and feet wet, giving back to the wetlands that have sustained so many of us up until now. When we heal wetlands, we heal ourselves. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Bethany, for your remarks. When wetlands flourish, people flourish. That's what I'll take with me. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Murali Thimarakudi, Director of the G20 Global Land Initiative Coordination Office, UNCCD. With over 3 decades of senior management experience and expertise in land restoration, he recently led the Disasters and Conflicts Program at UNEP, managing a 100 million portfolio focusing on ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction and partnerships. Please welcome Dr. Murali.
Thank you, Georgina, for the introduction, and greetings to all of you on the World Wetlands Day 2024. The G20 Global Land Initiative is extremely happy to partner with the Ramsar Convention, the Society for Ecological Restoration, and the Partnership for Environment and Disaster Risk Reduction to organize the World Wetlands Day for 2024. This year, I understand for the first time, the World Wetlands Day is being celebrated similar to the World Environment Day in a country, and that country happens to be India. Musanda was earlier today in Indore, India, speaking at a massive session to ministers and dignitaries and students, and also opened an exhibition, and I was getting live feedback from there, very impressive. So I'm very glad that wetlands are starting to get the type of attention which it deserves. I'm also very happy to see Bethany as a speaker, and I was fascinated by this new idea of rights for wetlands. I have heard of the rights for the river, rights for the mountain, but that seems to be the trend, and I think it will be absolutely fascinating as well as useful when wetlands can assert their right independently as a judicial person. We at the Global Land Initiative cover all ecosystems, be it arid lands, be it forest, be it agricultural lands, also wetland. Also, as a part of the Decade for Ecosystem Restoration, we are also committed to the Freshwater Challenge, where they have committed, or people are committing to 350 million hectares of wetland to be restored. In our work in the G20 Global Land Initiative, we share and showcase best practices of restoration, of community action from all parts of the world. So I'm very delighted that a number of managers and actors from wetlands around the world are joining this session. But there is also something which we are trying to promote in the G20 Global Land Initiative, that wetland restoration need not be a philanthropic or charitable activity. Wetland restoration can pay for itself. I think it's already well known that by restoring the ecosystem functions of the wetland, the humanity benefits a lot more than the type of investment which we have to make to restore those ecosystems. Some of the economic studies shows as much as return of investment of $30 on $1 invested in ecosystem restoration. But I think we have to go beyond that. We have to see where are those opportunities where restoration of ecosystem can pay for itself, even in the commercial monetized market. And I, for one, believe that wetland restoration probably will be the best possible option for actually getting return on investment on restoration. Because when we invest in restoration, it provides so many direct benefits, be it improved fisheries, for example. You have any other number of regulatory function, flood control, for example. We have any lively and healthy ecosystem is a place where people would like to come and visit. So there's tremendous amount of tourism one can develop. In almost anywhere in the world where security permits, wetlands are always massive tourist attractions. I know a small wetland in Switzerland, I think, which is no more than 1 hectare big, but there are tens of thousands of tourists coming to that place. So there is tremendous economic potential there. But people also like to live around wetlands. This is one of the reasons why wetlands get encroached and shrink year after year. But if wetlands are protected and preserved and well maintained, clearly that improves the quality of life, and clearly there will be increased real estate prices around this wetland. So by investing in protecting, preserving, and restoring wetlands, we can achieve direct economic benefits. So we believe that we could steer the restoration economy towards wetland restoration by using market forces and create almost a wetland of opportunity by ecosystem restoration of wetlands. This is one area where we are working with the young entrepreneurs around the world to create that type of positive returns on investment on ecosystem restoration. I wish the webinar all the best, and I once again thank all the speakers and also wish all of you a very good Wetlands Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Murali. Wetland restoration need not be a philanthropic venture. It has a return on investment. That's what I'll take with me. Our next speaker is Ms. Sana Mezuhi. Sana is an international environmental consultant with a focus on the MENA Mediterranean basin. She coordinates MedWet's Managers Network, which is dedicated to best management practices, knowledge exchange, and public education about wetland values and services. Additionally, she's contributing to World Wetlands Day celebrations, supporting civil society organizations across the Mediterranean in organizing activities to raise awareness about the importance of wetlands. Ms. Sana Mezuhi, thank you for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm Sana Mezuhi. I'm part of the MedWet team. I'm a network facilitator, and today I will be presenting an overview of the work that MedWet is undertaking in the Mediterranean regarding World Wetland Day. Next slide, please. Okay, so for those who are not familiar with MedWet, MedWet was created in 1991, 20 years after the creation of the Ramsar Convention, and it brings together 27 Mediterranean countries that are party to the convention, including Palestine and a number of organizations. MedWet mission is to ensure and support the effective conservation and the function of and values of Mediterranean wetland and the sustainable use of their resources and services. MedWet is a Ramsar regional initiative. Next, thank you. Okay, so World Wetland Day is celebrated every year on the 2nd of February, the anniversary of the adoption of the Ramsar Convention. Based on the French experience and with the support of the French Office for Biodiversity, MedWet celebrates with a large number of NGOs in the Mediterranean the 5th edition of a dynamic World Wetland Day. Next, please. Sorry, next. This is possible thanks to a regional network of actors at all scales. We count a network of national focal points, 27 countries, the SEPA network, the MedWet Managers Network, and I see Hazem in the panel who is Rasen is part of the MedWet Manager Network. We have also a network of more than 400 non-governmental NGOs. We have the communication tools and registration form in the languages of the Mediterranean countries and our ability to cooperate with the Ramsar Secretariat. Next, please. Here are some numbers from World Wetland Day last year. So last year we had more than 600 organizing structure with more than 1,000 animation involving more than 50,000 people. Next, please. So MedWet support the civil society throughout the Mediterranean. Next. Sorry, next. And this is possible because we provide communication tools in the different languages of the Mediterranean and infographics such as in Albanian, Arabic, Bosnian, Bulgarian, Croatian, etc. Next, please. And we also relate the World Wetland Day dynamic on our website and network. For example, every year we publish information on our website on World Wetland Day in the 3 languages, French, English, and Arabic, and also a list and the animation that we support every year. So this is the list of last year, and after February we will have the list of our 2024 animation. Next, please. We also publish all the animation on an interactive map online. Next. Every year and since 2020, MedWet has been launching a call for project funded by the French Office for Biodiversity to support World Wetland Days activities in the Mediterranean. This year, we received 48 applications, and in January, the selection committee met to choose 35 nominees. We have a selection committee composed by the Ramsar Secretariat, Ramsar France Association, the Mediterranean Wetland Observatory, Wetland Link Network, and of course the MedWet Secretariat. Next, please. Last year, we had 36 funded events involving 72 partners. The majority of activities were around Ramsar sites, and the type of activities funded can be field tour, exhibition, wetland cleanup, conferences, or school events. Next, please. These are some pictures of the events that were funded last year from Croatia, Tunisia. Next. From Turkey. Next. Albania. Next. Some NGO also produce some educational tools. For example, here in Croatia with the association Međimurje Nature. We also have a new, sorry, the slide before. Sorry, can you go back to the slide before? Sorry? Yes, no, after. Okay, so I will follow my slide. Yes, so yeah, we have a new event, which it's called twinning events between schools. So we organize event between schools and from the south and the north, the south and the north of the Mediterranean on migratory birds. And this year we will be organizing this event between a school in Morocco and in France. Next, please. So World Wetland Day this year for us will be we have already a communication campaign which is running already. We will participate in a World Wetland Day celebration in Algeria. We will also be part of Restore for Sea project in Valencia. We will also participate in the 5th Mediterranean Water Forum in Tunisia. And as I was explaining, the migratory bird twinning event, and of course our participation to this event. Next, please. And now I would like to invite you to participate to our campaign by taking a portrait mode photo near a wetland, showcasing your connection with nature and or an activity you are doing there. Prepare a short answer to the following question: why do wetlands matter to you? And then you can email us your photo and answer, and we will feature your photo along with your answer and name, and we will share it on our social media. Next, please. Next. These are some examples of friends and collaborators who played the game. And I would like to, before ending, I would like to thank my colleague Isabelle Perrault and Abdelrahim Smeri, with whom this could not happen. And thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Sana. Thank you for your contributions. They're in perfect alignment with our event's goals. I'll be sure to take a photo next to our wetlands. I just need to find one soon. I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Anu Rai. She is an environmental researcher working in freshwater studies, nature-based solutions, biodiversity conservation, and geospatial analysis. She has written about pertinent environmental issues in both academic journals and blogs, and currently spearheads Wetlands for Nepal and a not-for-profit company, Sustainability and Environmental Studies Endeavor. Can we please have Ms. Rai's presentation? Ms. Rai, thank you for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Namaste everyone, I'm Anu Rai from Nepal. So it's a pleasure to be presenting in front of all of you. And today I'm going to give a brief about our conservation initiatives in Nepal. Next slide, please. So just to give a brief introduction, Nepal hosts a great wetland biodiversity and which covers around 5% of the total area. We have 10 sites designated as Ramsar sites, and our wetlands have stories, warnings, traditions, and curses. They have been linked to life and death. And we have a mix of animistic worship, Vedic reverence, and Buddhist harmony. And we have a very rich oral tradition which speaks highly of wetlands connection to our society. So this picture that you see here is from one of our competition where we received wetlands, some pictures and videos and more from different parts of Nepal. Next slide, please. So our wetlands are in degraded state, and some of the examples can be seen here, such as sedimentation, pollution, spread of invasive species, and concretization. And there is a distinct lack of youth engagement in restoration and conservation of these wetlands. Next slide, please. So our initiative. So we started as a student nature-based solutions challenge as a student group through Wetlands for Nepal. And first we started with tackling the problem of sedimentation and then control of invasive species. Now this team is managed by a collaborative program, which is led by my organization. Next slide, please. So for the solutions, we had certain considerations, like we wanted the solutions to be nature-based, we wanted to utilize the indigenous knowledge and locally available tools, we wanted the decisions and capacity development to be made, and we wanted circular economic model for the solutions we pitched or implemented, because we did not want to be dependent on fundings for long-term for the long-term project implementation, and we had empathy at the start, at the heart of our project design. Next slide, please. So our first intervention is of a sediment retention pond, which is designed to maximize the retention of sediments and nutrients. So it provides kind of a control region such that the water will not overflow in a single monsoonal rainfall event. So next slide, please. So right now, we are trying to give proper dimensions to the sediment retention pond, but we have run into some fair share of our challenges. Could you also play the video at the side, please? It's a video. The same slide. There is a video. So this is the sediment retention pond that I was talking about. So this is still under construction. Next slide, please. So our second intervention was for biopesticide production. So as I talked about, that there were problems of invasive species in our wetlands. So what is the best use? How do we control these invasive species? So we tried to make a product that the local communities could use, so that there would be regular harvest of these invasive species. So a biopesticide was a solution for us, because the community surrounding the wetland that we worked on were farmers, so they could readily use it. Next slide, please. We have run into some problem regarding the experimental results, but on visual confirmation, we can see that it has the pesticides have been reduced by the use of Jolmol, that is the biopesticide. Next slide, please. So our third intervention was in awareness raising campaign, which was Save Our Wetlands. We found that many people were not aware about the ecological importance of wetlands. So we conducted different activities to, fun activities to get the youths and other people engaged in wetland related activities. So we had a mascot launch. We had a cycle trail which connected different wetlands in Kathmandu Valley. We collected different stories surrounding wetlands. As I said, there are Nepalese stories, mostly oral based. So these kind of competition have helped us to collect a lot of stories, and we also made a lot of educational videos, which you can see from the link. Next slide, please. So now our fourth intervention is in promoting regenerative agriculture and tourism. So it is a much more holistic approach to wetland conservation. Now we are tackling the root causes of our wetland deterioration, which is the nutrient input and unsustainable tourism. So we will implement this project we will be starting this project in February. So it's we've not started it, but we are very excited. Next slide, please. So to conclude, there's an interconnectedness of wetlands and human well-being, and it has been central to our initiative. Our initiative signifies not just restoration and conservation, but also the benefit of the community, and it underscores the win-win scenarios for environmental restoration and economic development. So next slide, just a brief. So could you play it? So I have some slides, we have only 5 minutes to talk about this. So I can keep the slides, email these slides to you if you are interested. So this is one of the educational video that we created. You could have a view of these educational videos should you have time. So thank you so much for listening. I'm Anurai from Nepal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rai. Thank you for sharing your distinctive viewpoints and your emphasis on strengthening the use of nature-based solutions and indigenous knowledge resonates with our viewpoint. I'd like to introduce our next speaker now, Mr. Hrisha, who has more than 12 years of experience in wetland management and restoration. He leads the management planning process of the reserve in accordance to the guidelines of the IUCN. Within his work, they've succeeded to restore 10% of the former oasis, worked on gaining an international recognition for the wetlands, such as Green List, for best management practices in the world. This effort won Best Success Story in the World and Top 100 Sustainable Green Destination. Mr. Hazem Hrisha, the floor is yours.
Thank you for invitation, and also I seize an opportunity to greet all of you. I will today introduce Azraq Wetland Reserve as the first wetland to join Ramsar in the Arab region. And this wetland is one of Jordanian protected areas network. And it was established in 1978 after 1 year of declaration within Ramsar Convention. Next, please. And next also. Next. It's, by the way, located at the heart of the largest drainage rechargeable aquifer in Jordan. It's a transboundary aquifer between Saudi Arabia and Syria. The vast majority of the aquifer locates within the Jordanian territory with 90%. So it depends on natural springs in order to form the whole oasis in the past. All the system has been changed dramatically because of overpumping, over-extraction of water into 3 governorates, or the largest governorates in Jordan, so affected significantly on the water, and that led to the dryness of an oasis in the early 90s. Next, please. Here's also recently added to the wetland. This is the mud flat. It's an attractive point for millions of birds during migration season. Next, please. Here we started after the 90s, the dryness of an oasis, in order to restore 10% of the former oasis, and also to hold further degradation of the aquatic ecosystem in the oasis, and also to protect the only endemic vertebrate species of fish, which is called Azraq killifish or Aphanius serhani, and also to create ecotourism and socio-economic development linked to the concept of nature conservation. Next, please. Here the story started. We have now internal pumping station. We take water and we signed an agreement with Water Authority of Jordan in order to provide us with 1.5 to 2.5 million cubic meter in order to sustain the ecological situation in the reserve. Next, please. Next, next, next. Here the first introduction also, here's some history of the wetland and how it was developed later. Next. Some like heavy works or heavy machineries now in order to rehabilitate some parts of the wetlands. Next. Also, we reintroduced killifish to the nature again after we finished rehabilitation. Next. Next, please. Here the killifish. Here we conduct many environmental surveys. One of them is Azraq killifish. Next. Next, please. Here's some also surveys conducted on the site, and recently we conducted another survey. It's very important, by the way. Studies in the wetland we conduct every year. Next. Also, we conduct many bird studies, and recently we are working with RSS in Jordan and Michigan University in US in order to test the diseases between birds, bacterial or any other diseases between migratory and resident birds. Next. Yeah, here's some pictures of the studies. Next. Here's some new biodiversity and nesting records in the reserve after the rehabilitation. We have a lot of new records in Azraq Wetland Reserve. So the wetland restoration assisted significantly in recording new species to the wetland and to the country. Next. Here also the Azraq Wetland Reserve ecosystem services. We here have all the parts of the ecosystem services provisioning. We have table salt, drinking water, and also regulatory as air purification, flood reduction, etc. We have also supporting pollination, habitats of animals, photosynthesis, agricultural also as a tourism or a traditional or local communities, because we have more than 3 social groups in Azraq. Next. Here also, after that we finished rehabilitation, we also developed some ecotourism services for our visitors. Next. Also, we have now we have a lodge also built for the sake of visitors. Next. Some also tourism or ecotourism activities like cycling, and here also some sites for visitors to stay, like picnic areas. Next. And here we are talking about the people are living in the area and how we interact with them or coexist with them, like the Druze experience, Chechen experience, or Bedouin experience. So we have many experiences with the local community, and we let them interact with the nature and nature conservation. Next, please. Next. Next, please. Here also we have the environmental education program, and recently we have developed a lot of activities and extracurricular activities in schools and also in the wetland, and how to create a new or junior ambassadors to advocate the Azraq Wetland Reserve. Next. Next, please. Here's some activities also, and here also the outreach program, how to also interact with stakeholders, with partners, and with also decision makers in order to gain more support for the wetland different programs. Next. Here also this report, this is the direct benefits of the local community from the existence of the wetland. So over the past 5-6 years, more than 2.5 million GD paid or expensed in the wetland during over the past 6 years or 5 years. So it's very important to have the wetland also for economic benefits and also for livelihood for the local communities. Next. Here also we have socioeconomic projects. We employed more than 10 ladies from the local community to work on different activities like painting over ostrich eggs, silk screen typing, nature toys, and also many activities in the wetland. Next. Here also, we over the past also like 5 years, we gained many like international recognition and awards, like Ramsar Convention in 1977, also joining a Green List 2018, Top 100 Sustainable Destination, and also we won Best Success Story last year, and we joined Peace Park. And also recently, over the past only 1 week, we joined Wetland Link International, and many like also we are working on many other like international recognition, as you know, as a tool of support for the wetland different programs. And thank you for your attention and listening.
Thank you, Mr. Hazem, for your impressive presentation, also in perfect alignment with our goals for this webinar. I would like to introduce our final speaker for the day, Ms. Godsgift Egberamo. She's a champion of environmental stewardship and a leading advocate for sustainable living and environmental choices, securing and executing two of the most notable mangrove restoration projects in the Niger Delta, the biggest remediation project in the Ogoniland, and a groundwater remediation project with a modified biosparging technology. Godsgift is a scientific trailblazer who transforms data into actionable insights, steering projects towards eco-friendly systems. Godsgift, the floor is yours.
Good day, everybody. My name is Godsgift Omojewe Egberamo, based in Nigeria, an environmental consultant. I would like us to join me in a short trip to Nigeria, where I share success stories from mangrove restoration in Nigeria. Next slide, please. Nigeria is blessed with almost every natural resources available to man on earth. And the Niger Delta region houses some of the most sought after resources globally. This region is rich in oil and gas, and the exploration of these resources has caused more harm than good, such that there's a drastic degradation in the environment, there is decline in human health, economy, security, and the social life in general. Sincerely, we fear for the generations yet to come. Well, this dread has led to an outcry from the host communities where these exploration activities have taken place. And this cry has gone to the Nigerian government, the international oil companies, and other NGOs. So all parties involved has embarked on a journey of finding lasting solutions by mitigating, remediation, or restoration of our environment with international best practice. But one milestone on this journey is the inclusion of mangrove restoration after remediation of an impacted coastline within the Niger Delta. What this simply means is that once there's a spill in the environment from crude oil, we swing into action with the emergency response. After then, we go into the cleanup and the remediation phase. Remediation is usually by enhanced natural attenuation. And at the end of the day, we introduce mangrove replanting. As an environmentalist, you might be wondering, why after going through the rigor of doing a proper RENA, why go through mangrove replanting? Well, mangrove replanting provides a secondary quality assurance for our RENA process. It speeds up the restoration of aquatic lives in the environment. And also, as we all agree, it provides the protection from shoreline, provides protection for the shoreline and surrounding community by serving as a barrier against tidal action, flooding, and the likes. Now, particularly in Nigeria, we found out that when the ecosystem is restored, it results in a booming and thriving economy owing to the trades and the transportation along the waterways. And another key thing I want us to take note of is the restoration of security. Now, how is this possible? The once degraded shorelines and creeks, which serve as a hideout for criminals and militants, no longer exist. So my next slide, please. I would like to show us some of the, next slide, please. I'd like to show us some of the ongoing projects and completed projects we have done in Nigeria. First, I would like to talk about the Okoroma and Akagwama project. Now, this project sets out, would actually embarked on a 15,000 mangrove replanting within 2 communities. Now, these communities are oil-rich communities in Bayelsa State, Nigeria. Now, after proper renal activity, we embarked on this mangrove replanting in 2015 and 2021, and we achieved a 95% success rate of our mangrove replanting. Next slide, please. Now, this project, the Bodo project, is particularly dear to me. Bodo is an oil-rich environment, oil-rich community, economically thriving at that. Is a community in the Ogoni land in Rivers State of Nigeria. We executed the first and second remediation phase of that's restoring the ecosystem, restoring the Bodo creeks back to its fit for use in 2018 and 2020. And as our own Q&A for our RENA, we actually embarked on over 100,000 mangrove replanting. Now, the success of this project actually encouraged our client, SPDC, to launch a 2 million mangrove replanting in that environment, in Bodo Creek. This project just began in January 2024. The next slide, please. And lastly, I would like to talk about the HyPrep project. The HyPrep project is a government project and is actually ongoing. As you can see from the slide, it's actually at its RENA or remediation phase. This project sets out to plant 3.4 million mangroves across several communities in Ogoni land with an expected survival rate of 98% for the mangroves. Now, currently, this project seeks to restore not just the ecosystem, but also the Ogoni people, bringing them back to the thriving economy they have, the security they once enjoyed. Now, in conclusion, I would like to draw our attention to the fact that we've been able to achieve this level of tremendous successes by involving the locals, especially the women. There's a saying that women are the custodians of nature, right? Well, in every stage of the project, we've actually involved them from sensitization to training, to the mangrove preparation and the nursery planting and the likes. Even the on-site planting, we bring them in as well as the monitoring process and post-monitoring process. Now, this leaves a sense of responsibility in the minds of the people, such that even after the project is completed, they know, they understand that the project, the ecosystem, the environment is theirs to take care of. And with that, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, God's Gift, for your impressive presentation, and we applaud your efforts as far as wetland restoration is concerned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, a heartfelt thank you to our audience for joining us today. We hope you found this event informative and inspiring. As we wrap up today's event, I want to express my gratitude to everyone who has played a crucial role in making this webinar possible. This includes the audience, distinguished speakers, valued partners, and dedicated colleagues for their unwavering support and collaboration. I'd also like to highlight that you'll receive a certificate of participation after the event. Additionally, I encourage you to subscribe to our social media channels to stay informed about our upcoming events. Our next webinar is scheduled for the 20th of February, and the title is Transforming Landscapes: The Inspiring Journey of Restoring Mines, the Ruhr Valley Region Model in Germany. Also, in celebration of World Wetlands Day, we've launched an online photo competition themed Beautiful Landscapes, and voting is open to the public from today until the 29th of February. So please visit greenstorm.green and cast your votes. I'd like to also close with a quote. Wetlands are the link between land and water, a place of beauty and a source of life. On behalf of the G20 Global Land Initiative Coordination Office, I wish you all a fantastic World Wetlands Day. Thank you and goodbye.